Hey, this is the Subspace podcast. I'm Tyler.
And I'm Cam.
Cam, we just watched Choose Your Pain, episode 5 of Star Trek Discovery. We're introduced to one Harry Mudd. We have not seen him for about 50 years, give or take. Cam, the question I guess you and I have is, does a character like Harry Mudd belong in a series like Discovery?
That's an excellent question.
It's a very problematic character.
It's one that I keep going back and forth on. And, I think my answer would be easier if we'd seen Harry Mudd in different tones. Like, if we'd seen... Say we saw Harry Mudd, like, in a comedy episode at first on original series, but then we saw him in, like, a darker episode. We'd seen some variety and shades to that character. It's very strange going from 3 comedic episodes, very broadly comedic episodes, to, like, a wartime dark story of, like, a survivor scraping by.
I've got big issues with Harry Mudd. You can find out more in the podcast, but it kind of boils down to the fact that this is a character created back in the 1960s where he was essentially a sex trafficker and it was played for laughs. I just don't know how you reconcile that because the writers have written themselves into a situation where they have to kind of treat this character with reverence, but he's from a kind of a time where it should not be given that kind of reverence.
Well, and you know what? I would say that had Harry Mudd been introduced like he was here, in the sense that he is a just morally bankrupt guy who's just kind of like a lowlife, I think you could still have those same stories and those sort of elements to the character, but he's not played as someone originally who's like, like the Harry Mudd that we just were reunited with. You do not want to be in a room with this man. Like, no. He is a scary guy. Like, he's someone who would turn you over to be killed in a heartbeat.
He would steal your breadcrumbs with his scorpion can. Who would do that?
And we'd seen those elements in the original series. Like, that's not necessarily removed from what we saw, but he was played just more... I mean, again, they were lighthearted, kind of broad episodes. And that's, to me, where the issue comes. Like, I don't necessarily disagree with the idea of the Harry Mudd character in Discovery.
But I do. I absolutely do.
I don't, because I understand what type of moral character they're trying to tackle here, but it's the background of the character that makes him problematic to use, if that makes sense.
But let's say this was just a character, had nothing to do with the Harry Mudd that we were introduced to.
Sure, like a completely original character.
Yeah. What did you think of, say, the performance of Rainn Wilson here?
I actually thought he was really good, because I think, Roger C. Carmel played the character originally. He played him very kind of broad and cartoony. And I thought that Rainn Wilson hit the beats one would look for in a Harry Mudd performance, but brought a lot of sort of, again, like the darker shades that you'd hope for if you're going to do that character in this sort of setting.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about what Mudd brought up with the Starfleet officers, and he actually makes a bit of an argument for the Klingons, or at least we get the idea that he understands the Klingon side of the argument, and yet in which you have Starfleet and the Federation pushing up against the Klingon Empire, and does not the Klingon Empire feel a little bit squeezed in? Why not fight back? And I do appreciate that he's saying maybe you Starfleet people need to look at what's going on around you. You're only considering your own ideals, your own principles here. What does the rest of humanity and the rest of the Federation, the lower people here, I suppose?
Right.
What
are we the lower people?
Oh, we would definitely be the. What would our jobs be in the Federation if we existed in the 23rd century, Cam?
I mean, do janitors still exist?
I would be working with Dr. Bashir's father, I have no doubt, or. Maybe I'd end up in one of those penal colonies that Tom Paris was, pointing that laser pointer at when we met him in Caretaker.
New Zealand is really nice.
That's what I hear.
I can think of worse.
Okay. But what do you think overall about what the message that Mudd was trying to impart on Lorca?
I think Mudd did a lot of heavy lifting in the sense of establishing the Klingons as being maybe more sympathetic than we've been led on to believe in the first previous 4 episodes of Discovery. I just kind of wish it wasn't Harry Mudd solely doing that heavy lifting to a certain degree.
Okay, yeah. Overall, did you like this episode? Episode 5, yeah. We are 1/3 of the way through season 1, which is a little hard to believe, but how are you feeling so far?
I really enjoyed this episode because of what it gave us in terms of character development. As like a plot-based episode, it's fine. Like, I enjoyed it. I didn't dislike it. But to me, like, the character growth, we're seeing characters like Stamets, Saru, Lorca, Burnham. Like, that's the stuff that I'm like, finally, we're slowing down just enough to give me a little more character growth as opposed to just we've got to keep this plot of the spore drive going.
Yeah. Do you think we're going to get a lot of backlash with regards to the dropping of not one but two F-bombs in this episode? I predict there's going to be a lot of fans that are like, guys, what's even the point of something like this? It's a character moment. Yeah. One of the things that you said that you really liked about it.
Yeah.
And look, I'm not stuck up. I just don't know if it fits in with the Star Trek universe, though. It felt a little bit like, that was weird.
It was like a comedy beat that didn't quite work as a comedy beat.
Yeah, we didn't laugh.
It worked as maybe a character moment between Stamets and Tilly.
It's no double dumbass on you.
No. But, I guess it was preferable to Data dropping the S-bomb.
Okay.
I think, I really hated that a lot.
Like really? I actually like that moment.
That made me cringe when I saw it.
Yeah.
So, this didn't make me cringe. I just kind of went oh, that's weird.
Yeah. But what do you think overall about the pushback that we might get? Do you think we could get some pushback from fans on this?
I think we're going to get pushback from fans on every element in this series so far. I just think this is more ammunition for them to, bring to the online discussion. And, look, they're going for a harder edge Star Trek. I guess it's a lazy man's writing or woman's writing tool to go to dropping F-bombs to mean, mature.
But what do you think about other universes like, say, Firefly or Battlestar Galactica, where they actually make up curse words? I think that's actually kind of fun, and it imparts the meaning of what they're trying to say in a unique sort of way. It adds to the universe. Yeah. It's part of kind of universe building.
And I don't think dropping F-bombs really means anything.
Not anymore.
Because, you look at the Star Wars universe and some of the scummier characters, there's no swears in Star Wars.
Yeah.
But you're never they're G-rated Disney characters because they didn't swear.
But is this enough to make it a non-family show? To me, I think Star Trek should be, kid-friendly. You can tackle very, very dark subjects.
Yeah.
But are there very many episodes where a parent's going to say, no, under no circumstances can you watch this? And I think we're kind of pushing into that territory if we're dropping F-bombs.
Well, we're not parents.
That's true.
That we know of. But, be honest, we've seen 5 episodes, as you said. Would you show your young children, these Discovery episodes?
It would depend on the age. And
let's say young, because, you got into Star Trek quite young, right?
8 years old.
Yeah. Would you show your 8-year-old Discovery?
Yeah, probably, because when I was 8, I was familiar with F-bombs, and I guess I would just impart to the kid, look, you can watch it on TV, just don't talk like that in settings that could get you in a lot of trouble. I don't know if every kid's going to be able to figure that out cognitively.
I'm just really curious whether 8-year-olds would even enjoy the show.
I'm not so sure.
Yeah, whether it was I can see lots
of
episodes.
Why did I like Star Trek when I was 8?
I think because of the variety and because the characters are having fun to a certain degree.
Okay.
You tune into a Next Generation episode, you never know what you're going to get. You're going to get some fun Worf moments, some fun Data moments. Even if it's, a boring episode, you may get... The characters really pop, and they're fairly easily digestible to, I think, a kid's sensibility. I don't know what a kid is going to get out of, Lorca.
Sure.
You know what I mean? These characters, because it's serialized, they're playing the long game in terms of developing these characters' personalities, but... would a young kid like Stamets? I'm loving Stamets, but would an 8-year-old like Stamets?
Oh,
I don't know.
8-year-old Tyler would have liked Stamets quite a bit.
Yeah. My hero that I can aspire to.
Well, excellent. Guys, if you want to find out more from us, go to facebook.com/subspacepod. Also look for our podcast link. We've got it here. Just click right down below and it'll all be good. But until next time, this is Subspace Transmission.
Signing off.